Welcome to the Chip and Cern Show, the podcast about everything and nothing at the same time. They were possibly separated at birth, only to be rejoined to create the sweet sounds that will caress your deepest cochlea. The show is real, random, rant-filled, and ruthless. Please be warned that this show may hurt your feelings, offend your grandma, and even kick your dead dog in the balls. So get ready. Let's get this shit started.
This shit has started. I'm Chip.
I'm Cern.
And you are listening to the Chip and Cern Show. Welcome, folks. Again, who are fans. And we do appreciate if you're new to the show, and if you're old, sharing with your friends, foes, families, and churchgoing.
Spread it.
Yes.
Like herpes. Or some sort of VD.
Yeah. I mean, herpes, yeah, that's fine. Speaking of herpes, Wells Fargo is in the news recently. And I know you're probably thinking, why is Chip and Cern talking about one of the big four banks in the world? Well, they're in the news, and Cern always brings a good point. If Chip and Cern shows breaking the news for you, reevaluate.
Reevaluate your outlet. Get a little current. Like guys, Google.
Yeah.
Google News.
Google News is great. That's what I use.
Read the topics. Just read the topics.
You don't have to
headlines.
We're not asking you to spend an hour looking through the black and white in the newspaper.
Just have an idea.
Yeah, just scope like, Wells Fargo, fired, okay, accounts, billions, okay, what? And then you kind of get an idea.
North Korea is stomping
They're
around.
Bad?
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Kim Jong-un or whatever the fuck his name.
And now you're current.
Yeah, well, there you go. I filled you in.
Until next time.
Yeah. So Wells Fargo is in the news. They have been under investigation. They have fired, over the course of a year or so, have fired 5,300 employees for opening over 2 million, with an M, accounts that were not authorized.
Yes.
And they've been fined $190 million.
Chump change.
For this.
Chump change.
It is. Chump change for how much money Wells Fargo makes. I read somewhere it's the equivalent if you make $60,000 a year, you being fined $40.
Oh.
Like, would you, if you made $60,000 and someone said, you owe me $40, you would be like,
okay, I've had plenty of parking tickets.
Here's a couple Harriet Tubmans for yourself. Fuck off. So Wells Fargo was is one of the big banks. There's Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America. That's probably the main couple that you know of. Basically, these employees were fired for opening these fraudulent accounts because there was incredible sales pressure placed on them for cross-selling products. Now, like I said before, why is Chip and Cern talking about this? Well, I actually used to work for Wells Fargo.
You did?
Chip did. I will disclaim that I was not fired from Wells Fargo, and I did not participate in any of their, unauthorized. I never opened any unauthorized accounts.
No, I will vouch for this because I remember Chipper being so miserable because he was always underperforming.
Yeah. Well, hold on, Cerny. Now, at Wells Fargo, I was a banker there, so I would open accounts. Cerny, I've opened accounts for, and
banker. All
my friends are probably, if they have accounts at Wells Fargo, I've probably set them up for them.
Yeah, the non-listening son of a bitch, Tony.
Yeah. Joe, my wife, who knows, everyone.
Yes.
Probably my mom, or my brother, obviously, for sure. And so, miserable. Now, Wells Fargo had tiers of performance. Bronze, silver, and gold. Okay. Bronze is like you were hitting your goal. So they would put a goal, okay, Chipper, you need to have 100, they called them solutions.
No, Chipper had tiers, different kind of tiers.
Right. They were streaming down my face into my beer. So this is going to get real kind of technical, but a solution is a product. So if, the average Joe American has a checking account, hopefully a savings account, debit card, credit card, and maybe an auto loan. That would be 5 solutions.
Yes.
So if that's 5 products, sort of. Now, if someone would come to your desk, you would be under immense pressure from your manager and from their manager to get them to expand from just the checking and savings and credit card account to more, to like 6, 7, 8 accounts.
Which is unrealistic.
Very much so. And, the reason why I was miserable at work was because my manager was always busting my hump because I was barely hitting the bronze, their minimum. I was doing my job not too average, but I was hitting their quality. I was getting paid a bonus for hitting my numbers, but I was the very lowest. Like if the goal was 10, I was getting like 10.2 or whatever the average was. And they wanted more, obviously. Now, this was something that when the CEO, John Stumpf, was in, he was subpoenaed, or not subpoenaed. What's it when they call you to task in fucking Senate or in front of the Congress and they just beat the shit out of you for...
Subpoenaed or...
I don't know what it is exactly.
It's like a deprivation
but
or something like that.
He got lambasted by Senator Warren, I believe.
So, while Chipper's looking this up, for all of you, I know we have a few youngsters that are actually younger than Chip and Cern.
Yeah.
That are looking for careers. Now, if you hear Chipper
would not recommend banking.
So, and not only on banking, if you want sales is a tough.
High pressure.
It's high pressure. You got to hit the... It's a... What have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
You could have been a hero yesterday, but if you didn't do it today, you're the GOAT.
And that was the thing of like... I was like, well, yesterday I got 10. Maybe I got lucky and I got 2 brand new people walk in and they came up to your desk and they go, I want to open a checking account. And you're like, the heavens had opened and dumped this onto you.
Yeah.
2 people did that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I blew my daily number, doubled, tripled it.
Yes.
The next day you could have 3. Like, you fucking... This is seriously the type of language that they were doing to you?
Yes.
And Wells Fargo's goal was constantly, okay, if Cerny has 4 products, he needs 8. He needs 6.
Yes.
Well, he already has the checking account. He needs another checking account.
The sales world, ladies and gentlemen. That is, you can make, it can be lucrative.
Yeah.
But it is.
Very lucrative.
But your lifespan, man,
right.
You're destined for a stroke by the age of 35.
I mean, and Cern knows me very well. I mean, we're very good friends. I was completely miserable working there. Every day I would come home and it was like, even if I did good, it was the next day. And it's one of these jobs.
The dread.
Yep.
It's the job that you don't want to have. If you have a job where you just dread it.
You wake up and you are just lying in bed and your alarm goes off. And in your head, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
If that goes through your head, you're in the wrong fucking move along.
Yes. On Sunday when you wake up, you're like, you can't enjoy your Sunday because you're thinking, tomorrow's Monday and fuck. Just cash it in. Move on to another career. There's no way. It's just not for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had it. Ugh.
It's not good. And in Wells Fargo's, situation, the sales pressure that they put on was astronomical. And not that I'm being a big pussy or these people are being pussies and caving and doing illegal things. It's not good to open illegal things. But there was specific people, and snitches get stitches, but there was a couple times where some people were so flagrant about it. And, I would sit by people's desk and they would go, oh, well, what we need to do is open you another checking account. And you're like, I know this customer and they don't need a checking account.
Yes.
And they're like, okay, well, we just opened. I'm like, you opened them an account? They're like, yeah, she needed it. And I'm like, no, they didn't. Like, well, and you're supposed to, fund the account. Like, you're supposed to put at least $100 in it. And they're like, well, did they do that? Well, she's going to do it next week. And you're like, oh, why did you do that? And you just know that it's not the right thing for the customer. And I had a really hard time doing stuff that wasn't the right thing for them. And I got in serious trouble a few times when, my manager would come to me and they would go, why didn't you give Cerny a savings account? I said, well, he said he just is going to use his account for blah, blah, blah. And he's not going to save any money. And, well, you need to do it. Call him up right now. Like, you're staying after work. You get off at 5, but you're calling from 5 to 6, and you're going to call Cerny back, and you're going to get him that savings account. And I'm like, I'm fucking 20 something years old. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die when I'm 30.
Yeah.
And this fucking gig.
So we've before.
Yeah.
How miserable Chipper was. Son of a bitch, Tony.
Yeah.
Him and I came down for Chip.
Right.
We pulled up some money.
For my birthday, for my 21st birthday.
21st birthday. We pulled up, basically we were broke. So we were.
Basically, I think totally we were broke.
Totally broke. And we saved up for his birthday, and we had pooled up some money, and we got him some like Don Perignon and
baller ass
some
champagne.
Sweet, and you were into the turkey, wild turkey.
Oh, Christ.
Wild turkey
101?
Rye whiskey 101. And I remember
Brutal.
we had it all ready for you. We actually beat you home, and we were ready.
That was impressive in its own right.
And we were excited. Chip walked through the door. Rough day.
It was like Friday, right?
It was a Friday.
And we were going to go out to the bars and do this whole 21st birthday.
We were going to pregame while he was technically still 20.
Right.
And then at midnight, when he was technically 21, we were going to go out and
like every 21 red blood American does. And yeah, I remember there was some issue wrong that I ended up, normally at 5, you couldn't get closed fast enough to get out of there.
Yes.
And I think I want to say 6:15. I understand working longer hours is sometimes needed, but it was for an unnecessary reason, sales related.
Yeah.
And it was like, if you pulled all my files from Wells Fargo and looked at my performance, I was always getting paid like a bronze, whatever the lay of the lows to get paid, but I wasn't like blowing it so far out of the water.
Yeah.
But even if I did blow it out of the water one quarter, as soon as that quarter was over, as soon as that day was over, that was last quarter. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah. What have you done today?
I mean, it's just brutal. And, like I mentioned, I had called before and like, hey, this person is doing some stuff. Like, you should maybe look at this. And internally at Wells Fargo, they were very much preaching like customer first, customer service, all this bullshit. What we knew was bullshit.
Yeah.
Because what our managers were telling us was completely different from, when you're watching the football game, and what the Wells Fargo ad says is like, we're here to serve your customers best and we look out for you and all this stuff. And then behind the scenes, we're getting force-fed all this fucking bullshit about, well, you need to sell Cerny instead of having 6 products with us. He needs to have 8 because that makes him a better customer. It's like, okay. And then you're asking, oh, well, our auto loans are 8%, but you can get a 3% at the credit union. You want to refi your auto loan? And people are like, why would I refi 3% auto? Like, and you're like, oh, yeah, well, you can have more products with that. And it's like, people are like, what the fuck does that do for me? So a lot of the times these people, Wells Fargo, John Stumpf, when he was on, not trial, but he was put to task by the fucking Congress.
Being questioned.
And questioned by this.
Like in The Godfather.
Exactly. And he said, no, these were lone actors. That these employees that they fired over time, these 5,300 employees were lone actors. Sir, I'm sorry, but you were fucking mistaken. There's not that many lone actors. Lone actors is like maybe 5. I'll give you 5.
Yeah.
But it was
still got 5,295 to go.
But it's just this culture of that they were putting forward of you have to hit your numbers at whatever cost it is. And it was like, if you don't get your 6 for the day, you're staying after, and I don't care how long it takes, you're getting that number. You're going to call people, and you're going to do that. Like,
cold calling, huh?
Right. And it was just like, I just remember sitting there, and I mean, I have had blow-ups with my manager when I would work there, like literally shouting matches in the back. Like, I'm not doing, I literally straight up would just defy and say, I'm not doing that. I'm going home. And they're like, oh, you're fucking, and you're going to get fired and you're going to do this if you don't do all sorts of stuff. Funny enough, the people that were, I guess, gaming the system the most, you would expect after a couple people called HR, because within your branch, you would go...
Whistleblower,
yeah, sort of a whistleblower, but I would talk to you, Cerny, and we're like, well, banker Joe. He's doing some shady ass shit over there. I know. Seriously, I have seen this because when you open an account, you have to sign. He grabbed the pen and like reached over and signed the fucking signature. And I'm like, come on, dude, that's fucking, you're out of your gourd if you think that's going to fly. And a couple other people saw it and were like, okay, I gotta say something.
Nothing.
2 weeks later, nothing. Oh, what's that? Fucking 2 months later, promoted. What? What the fuck? And come to find out, here we go. I forgot, this article is in Forbes or something. Or no, CNN Money. Sorry, CNN Money. And sorry, Forbes. This is a quote, one former Wells Fargo HR employee said that the bank had a method in place to retaliate against tipsters. He said if Wells Fargo would find a way to fire employees, and I'm quoting, in retaliation for shining light on sales issues. So it could be as simple as monitoring an employee for a fault like showing up a few minutes late on several occasions.
Oh.
So if you were supposed to show up at 8:30 and you showed up at 8:32, they would fire them. Like if you did that for a couple days in a row.
Okay.
So this is a former HR person essentially saying if you were a whistleblower, they would like scrutinize you.
You're blackballed.
Right. And in this article, they had a couple people that said, yeah, I called the HR line. Someone even emailed the CEO, John Stumpf, specifically and called and said,
what's her name? Yeah.
I'm seeing this happening. And the lady said, did you recall this? And he goes, I don't recall that email. It was pretty great.
Even though I believe he replied to it, did he not?
Oh, really? That would be pretty damning evidence, I would say. Yeah. So John Stumpf has been, he was in front of a committee. Federal prosecutors, they're investigating the bank. Subpoenaed? Maybe. I don't know if that's the right language.
Dragged.
Yeah. Dragged, kicking and screaming. His hands all busted up. And he was, he said he injured his hand playing with his grandchildren. And it's like, no, come on. And when he was getting raked over the coals by, God, why am I not seeing her name? It was Senate Banking Committee hearing. That's what it was. So basically during the time when he was CEO, the CEO made, was it 200 million? It was an insane amount of money.
It was.
I want to say almost, where is it? Why am I not seeing this?
I'm looking.
Millions of dollars over 5 years. And she kept calling it a scam. She said, why you're running this scam? And it was irking him so much that he was like squirming in his chair, which made me very, very happy to see. Because everyone that worked at Wells Fargo as a banker, would have loved to like tell this guy to his face like that he's a fucking piece of shit for making us do this, or putting so much pressure on him. It just was not an enjoyable situation.
Elizabeth Warren.
That's right. So if you haven't seen Elizabeth Warren, just Google Elizabeth Warren Wells Fargo, and she fucking lays into the CEO for about 10 minutes. I was standing up and I was like,
he makes the claim of, well, they've been fired, and then she says, well, the underlings that don't have the corporate, blanket or umbrella, that they don't have representation, they've been fired. What about you? Have you given back your bonus? Have you given back your salary?
Yeah. Like $200 or $500 million of stock that he owns, 5 million shares or whatever, and it rose $17 a share, and you made an extra $500 million. And she made an excellent point that when I was a teller and you have a cash drawer, that you're making change for people, if I just went in there and one Friday I just grabbed a handful of 20s and stuffed in my pocket and walked out, I would be in jail. Yeah. I would be fired and I would be in jail for years. Yeah. You stole hundreds of millions of dollars from Americans, and nothing's happening to you.
This is a epidemic. This happens a lot.
Yeah, with the white collar crimes,
they go untouched.
So
ridiculous.
I mean, this was a big thing a couple years ago with the what was the Wall Street thing where they were like sitting.
Oh, Occupy Wall Street.
Occupy Wall Street.
Yes.
And I mean, it's 100% true. I mean, if this guy resigned and they're like, did you fire any senior executives? Like high people. And they're like, well, we fired a regional man. She's like, I don't give a shit about the regional manager.
Yeah.
That's a nobody.
Peanuts.
Give me a fucking like one level down from you or yourself.
Yeah.
And have you been investigated? Like, I mean, this guy, if they started putting these executives into jail for years and made them pay their money back, do you think this sort of thing would change?
Made an example out of them, then yeah, it would change. But
so you think that if they're told Stumpf, you owe us the $500 million you made back, and you're in jail for 5 years, that the fucking Chase CEO and the Bank of America guy would be like, or girl would be, lady, would be,
person,
holy shit, we're fucking dialing this back a bit.
actually, as I think about it, in the short term, yes.
Uh-huh.
In the long term,
Probably not.
probably not. I think they would come up with a different scheme,
Yeah.
and it would start out as it would be small, and it would grow and grow and grow and grow, and then eventually, it could be to the scale. But yeah, I think in the ultimate grand scheme of things,
Will probably
your bank
help.
account and your wallet, reign supreme in your decision making.
I mean,
always.
Yeah. And I mean, literally the day, because I quit working Wells Fargo, and I remember, I'm sure I talked it over with you, Cerny. I remember saying, like, I'm going to come in with a fucking high school marching band.
Yeah,
I quit. Fuck you guys. Like, flipping everyone off. Like,
Now this
fuck
is
place.
true, everybody. This is true.
And I was like, I'm going to spend $300 and get the marching band in here.
This
I was
is
like,
100% accurate.
it was like 9:15. I went up to my boss. I'm like, I have to talk to you. And they're like, okay, what is it? I'm like, I'm putting my notice in. And they're like, oh, we're really going to miss you. You're a great I'm like, oh, well, you weren't, I wanted some
You're
like.
not a great employer.
Right.
Fuck yourself.
So, I mean, it wasn't the specific person's fault, obviously. But when I put my notice in, literally the week after, I closed every single, because I knew once you're on the inside of the Wells Fargo situation,
Yeah.
all the dirt. I just closed everything I could. I have not one checking account, savings account, debit card there. I have I think I may have a student loan or something that is a little bit tougher to get done.
You can't close that one.
Yeah. I went right to the credit union, and I'm like, this is where, and people, it's the better place to be, in my opinion, where it's like kind of employee owned or whatever.
Yes.
But, yeah, I mean, it's just, and in a lot of online comments I'm seeing, obviously all the ex-Wells Fargo employees, as an ex-Wells Fargo employee myself, you never hear someone that quit Wells Fargo that's like, you know what, I'd really like to get that job that I had back at Wells Fargo. That was such a good gig. It's not that you hear like, oh, I had such a good time there. It's like, holy fuck, I got out of there. Like, I'm so lucky. And then you're trying to save your friends that work there. Like, come on, Cerny, you don't need to be there. Come on, you can come
There's
work.
always McDonald's.
Yeah.
There's always McDonald's.
I mean, I seriously worked retail at a mall, and I would, in 1 second, have quit. I would have made less money, and I would have rather worked retail fucking during the Christmas and Thanksgiving at fucking Circuit City.
Oh,
and when I
that's
worked
right.
at the
That's right.
Apple
That's right.
store, I would have...
That's correct.
I would have fucking... and would have just rather had worked there slinging fucking iPhones than selling checking accounts. Like, that's how bad it was.
I do remember.
I mean,
He
it
miserable,
was...
folks. He was miserable.
It was bad.
Wells Fargo, I'll just say banking in general,
Yeah.
not the career path you want to go. Well,
Yeah, I mean, unless you're like a financial advisor or something, but that's a little bit higher. Now, the issue that they have is, this didn't happen. I'm saying hypothetically, Cerny, if some Joe Schmo Wells Fargo employee opened 2 checking accounts under your name and you had no idea, and obviously you have no idea, so you're not putting money. They go to they go to kind of default. They don't go to collections, but they go to something else, and it's a negative tarnishing thing on your record. Or they opened a credit card under your name and you had no idea, and that's affecting your credit score. How does Wells Fargo pay you back for this, like, disservice? Because how do you put a number like, well, your credit score was 730, but now it's 650 because you've had, like, is there an amount of money that they assign to this? Like, okay, this is worth $2,000 or something.
So then maybe it would be the whatever credit I have open and whatever at the current credit score that I have.
Yeah.
And then what would I be saving if my credit score would be? Well, that'd be pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, there's already, I mean, every couple of days, this is why we're talking about this. Every couple of days, I'm seeing a new article pop up with Wells Fargo that's some new news. And today, it's ex-employees, and I'm going to get in on this, in California are seeking $2.6 billion. Chipper wants his taste of a class action lawsuit against Wells Fargo. And I mean, they were tired. They $2.6 billion for workers who were tried to meet aggressive sales quotas without engaging in fraud and were later demoted, forced to resign, or fired. This is any employees over the past 10 years, including current employees, who follow the rules and were not penalized nor meeting sales quotas. I bet I could fall under this
umbrella.
Wells Fargo managers pressed workers to meet quotas of 10 accounts per day regarding progress for some daily, and would reprimand workers who fell short daily.
Oh.
And this is the thing where they would come by and managers could look it up in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, Cern, you have 4. And you would get like an email and they would by like, Chipper, how many you have? And you're like 3. And they're like, what are you going to do? Because you know your number was 7. And you're like, I'll call the list. And they're like, okay, give me the blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay. And you're just sitting at your desk literally praying. I was literally like, I fucking hope somebody walks in and needs an account today. Because that's like, I mean, and I would go home, they're like, you got 3, and they're like, okay, Chipper. And I'm like, they're like, you got to stay. I'm like, I'm not going to stay. Like, I'm going home. And it's just like, you go home, and I'm sure my wife could attest. Like, I probably came home how many times, and I was just fucking depressed, my head down, like, go home and just crack a beer. Like, I just need to take the edge off.
Now, at this point in our lives, I think we were over your house apartment every weekend.
Nearly, yeah.
So
you got a good.
So you're part-time wives, so I can attest to this.
That's true. Without the physical, we never had the physical connection. Me and my wife,
unfortunately.
But but I mean, it was not. I remember. I'm not. Well, as I'm drinking a beer, I'm not a huge guy like drinking a beer every night type of person. But when I worked there, it was. I need a drink when I get home because I'm fucking stressed.
I
need to take the
edge
off
somebody.
Yeah,
or
I don't want to kick the dog. So give me the fucking Lagunitas.
Yes.
And drinking, probably doing other destructive things to myself, but just the stress, overeating, all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's just
we were destructive.
It's just insane. And I think the point that I want to make.
So before we make that, quality of life. Piggyback on that. How do you give a dollar amount to quality of life? Ruining the quality of life.
That's true. I mean, I was so stressed. And I mean, you know me, I was much bigger back then when I was working there. I guess I'm an emotional eater or something. So, I mean, just the stress and the wear and tear. And like we mentioned before, when the alarm clock goes off in the morning and you open your eyes and literally you're thinking, I don't want to go to work. That's not...
I would rather be doing anything else but...
Right.
It's not just the... In at least in my mind, it's not the I don't want to go to work because I don't think anybody with my life
right. Nobody.
Like, fuck.
If you can get your paycheck and not go to work, anybody would take that deal.
I'm usually 100% of the time like,
right.
But it's not a big
pulling
deal.
Teeth. Yeah.
It's I am dreading
right
going to work. I would rather have my small toe cut off with a butter knife
Yeah.
than go to work. That is where the problem is.
Exactly. And I was going to make my point, but
Sorry,
I fucking forgot. But, I mean, to Cerny's point, 100%. I mean, few people and really enjoy work. My job now, I'm happy to show up every day.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the people I work with. It's nice. It's fun. It's a relatively stress-free environment. Like, I can't stress, like, I just waking up, like, and that your manager, as soon as you see her or him, they're going to go and say, you got 3 yesterday, now you need 10 today.
Yeah.
And how are you going to get your 10? What appointments do you have? How are you going to do this? Did you call that one customer that only opened a checking account? Why didn't you open a savings? Are you trying to lose your job? Are you trying to be incorrect? And like, you just know all this shit's going, and you're like, fuck this place. It was just insane.
Yes.
Insane. So, one, I don't think Wells Fargo's fine was enough from the government.
No. I believe most of that was for the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Is it off the top of my head? Yeah.
So, if in fact what I had stated earlier, if it's the equivalent of someone making $60,000 a year to pay out $40 in fines, or even $400,
yeah,
that's not enough.
No,
this needs to hurt.
Change.
This needs to hurt.
Yes.
And 100%, all the reports that I'm seeing online I have never seen one and like, well, you know what? They're lying. The people that were breaking these rules were getting promoted. And when you would call HR on them or talk to your manager, talk to your superior, talk to their manager, these people were not being fired or reprimanded. They were being either shuffled around to a different branch or promoted.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, you're a level, they would call them like personal banker 1. And then there was like a level in between that. And then there was a couple levels up. So it's either, okay, now you're moving instead of at branch A, you're at branch B, but you actually got a promotion. Because these people were always hitting their numbers. But very questionable activities. And, like I said, not that I'm some huge fucking snitch, but I have seen some shady ass shit. People, including people leaning over, typing in people's PIN numbers for their card. The person's not sitting there, and they're typing in 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever for their PIN number.
That Department of Justice.
Right.
Chipper's got the dirt.
You can fucking, if you want to subpoena me, that's fine. Well,
for a fee.
Hold on. That's slight fee, and we would like a Chip and Cern shout. We would like a shout, if you could.
You heard it here first on Chip and Cern show.
So,
well, maybe not first, but
yeah, you've heard it. But it was 100% over sales thing, and the senator even said, like, if you look at Bank of America and Chase, their average products per customer is like 4 or whatever the number. Yeah. Wells Fargo, they were 8. Or they were like a crazy exponential of that. And it's like, that's just not how it is.
No, it's not reasonable. Be reasonable.
Anyway, I'm getting too worked up over this. And, Cerny can attest to pretty much my mood this entire time and how
it's pretty salty.
Luckily, the Chip and Cern show lived on.
It did.
I don't know if Stumpf will retire. If he does quit or retire, he's getting the quote-unquote golden parachute almost without doubt.
He should go to jail with Madoff.
It's essentially the same fucking thing.
Exactly.
I mean, to my point earlier, what do we do if we open Cerny 2 checking accounts that he didn't authorize? Yeah. I mean,
it's fraud.
It's fraud.
It's fraud.
And then do you hold these personal people responsible that actually did the account? Ooh. I mean, I guess you kind of, you're going to go down and say, hypothetical again, okay, banker Joe Smith actually opened Cerny these 2 accounts. Now, what are we going to do? Fucking sue this guy that makes who knows how much money or not?
Some sort of punishment that you would have to work up to. Branch manager, were you aware of this? You were? Okay. Well, there you go.
Well, of course, yeah.
You work your way up.
And then, so wherever they stop, so you're saying, okay, so the branch manager, I can confirm for you right now, they're aware of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
The district manager, they know what's going on too, because when you call and all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, well 5 people just signed up for accounts, and you're like,
Okay.
it's 6:30, the bank's closed. How did that happen?
Now, how you how you pass out those punishments and what they would be, I don't know.
Now, I will say in Stumpf's defense, I doubt as a CEO he was telling his underlings, I want people to open fraudulent accounts. I don't think that happened.
I'm sure he said, I want here's a quota.
Here's the number.
Hit this quota.
I don't care what
it kind of morphed from there.
And then if he noticed that his underlings weren't hitting their numbers, he was taking a huge shit on them, and they were taking even a bigger shit.
The whole shit mountain.
And guess who's at the pile at the bottom of this giant shit mountain?
Bankers.
Chipper with his mouth open, full of shit. Anyway, this is like a therapy session for me.
You feel better?
Sort of. Well. And unfortunately, my putting my notice in and quitting wasn't as much pomp and circumstance as I had wanted.
No band. That's what it was.
No, it was the marching band. But I would be in front, and I even had the baton. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. This is what I was going to be shouting, and I'm pumping my hand and twirling it up, and I have the big hat.
Oh, the big hat. Now I would have made it with the big fuck you right there. F you University.
Yeah, but I don't know. It didn't happen, and, it worked out, I guess. I'm in a better place now, and I will say it was good because now I know how bad a job can be.
Yeah.
I wasn't fucking digging ditches or swinging a hammer for a living, but as far as like a 9-to-5 job, it was pretty fucking miserable.
Miserable.
And now I'm like, I've done that for years. Now I know like what's good.
What it feels.
So,
you're grateful.
Now, are you a Wells Fargo customer, Cerny, still?
No.
Okay. So Cerny got out.
When Chip got out, Cern got out.
Yeah. Well, they would do... No, we will fucking wind it down and we wind it right back up.
Yeah,
no,
here
we go.
A reboot.
Every January, they would have the program they would have internally was jump into January. And this meant in January, you would get your friends and family to all sign up for accounts because you can start January off really strong with good numbers.
You always want to start January off strong.
And it did not only banking, it's like, I do some athletic events. Nothing pains me more than to ask my friends and family for money.
Yes.
Like, Mom, Dad, or Cerny, can you throw $20? I'm going to ride my bike for 100 miles.
Yeah.
I'm sure people are happy to do it, but it just, like, me personally, it bothers me to ask people.
Your pride's hurt.
Yeah. So it was every January, and I've worked there for 5-6 years, so it's like, I'm sorry, I'll apologize right now. Like, I have probably begged you for so many accounts, and Cerny's like, oh, well, no, I can't do it, and it, it was just a whole fucking thing, and then, anyway, I can't get into it anymore. It's another 2-hour podcast.
He's going to start weeping into the mic.
I remember this one. She touched me where my swimsuit covers.
In my no-no zone.
Right. So... Anyway, this is the Wells Fargo podcast, which is probably one I never expected doing.
No.
But if you find this useful or you have personal experience, we would love to hear it. Tweet us at Chip and Cern Show. You can send us an
read
email.
Them. It's really us.
Yeah, it's either Chip or Cern, potentially even both replying.
Yeah. If you get 2 replies.
Right, and they're like, hold on, this person said one thing. Now, I've noticed, Cerny, not to put you on blast, there's been a lot of fucking Rams tweets going on out of the fucking Twitter account. What's the problem? I'm a Seahawks fan, and you're a
I know.
And then I'm like noticing, like, oh, Chip and Cern Show retweeted the Rams Twitter with, and I'm like, fucking Cerny's got a hold of the account again. I got to wrangle him. I got to reel Cerny back in. He's going crazy. At least we both like the Giants, and when those tweets come out, I'll
tell you right now, Chip and Cern will never retweet any Niner shit.
That's
never.
That's true.
It'll never happen.
Has very similar colors to the Niners as Wells Fargo.
Oh.
Fucking Kaepernick and motherfuckers.
I knew it.
Anyway. Whew.
Conspiracy going on right there.
If you enjoy this and our other podcasts, be sure to share them with friends, family, strangers, Stranger Things.
Oh,
let's see what I did there. Tied it in. And church-going people.
Oh,
probably not many churchgoers.
I don't know. we may be demonized.
For
Just
sure.
stop somebody and just say Chip and Cern Show.
Or if you don't want to do that, if you want to have a hat or a shirt or a sticker that stops somebody. Because we got a nice, cool logo from Mr. Michael Spiegel Designs. You can go to chipandcernshow.com/shop and buy all that merch.
Absolutely. And if you want to communicate with us, Chip and Cern Show. Facebook, Twitter, email, chipandcernshow@gmail.com.
It's pretty easy.
Just Chip and Cern Show. Even Google Chip and Cern Show.
And we'll come up.
Just pick your avenue.
Whatever your communication device.
It'll get directly to us.
It will. And leave us a review on iTunes if you feel so inclined, or whatever, Google Play, SoundCloud, whatever you're listening to. Throw a star, a thumbs up, heart, whatever they're fucking using these days.
Whatever it is.
All the kids. Anyway, until next time, I'm Chip.
I'm Cern.
Cheers. Follow the Chip and Cern Show at chipandcernshow.com, Facebook and Twitter.
Listen at Chip and Cern Show, iTunes, Libsyn, SoundCloud, Google Play, and more.
Support the Chip and Cern Show on Patreon and chipandcernshow.com/shop.
Let us know we're doing some feedback. chipandcernshow@gmail.com. But most importantly, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a stranger. chipandcernshow.com.